So a question I get asked all the time is how exactly do I use ND filters? I've explained in previous videos why I recommend using ND filters and the benefits they bring, but how exactly do I go about using them when I'm out getting footage with my drone? Well, in today's video, I'm going to take you with me when I'm out capturing some awesome footage with my DJI Mini 2, and I'm going to show you my step-by-step process and how I know which ND filter to use, and just how I go about using them in general, and a secret tip for how to use them to get super cinematic footage. Let's go flying. So before I get into this video, I just want to say, if you like this video and you learned something new, please make sure to hit the like button. And if you're new around here and haven't subscribed and have drone related videos, please make sure to subscribe and make sure the notification bell is on. So as I mentioned, I'm out here at a location called the Black Arch in Northern Ireland. I want to get some drone footage. I've got my drone, I've got my ND filters, and I'm going to go through my process of working out now which ND filter to put on the drone, and then I'm going to go get some drone shots. And as mentioned, I'm going to give you my tip on how to expose correctly to get beautiful cinematic footage. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my drone on. I have no ND filter attached currently. That's important because you want to start from a blank canvas, so make sure you have no ND filter attached just at the beginning of this process. So the first thing I'm going to do on the controller is to make sure to set my manual video settings to how I'd like them. So I'm going to use the double the frame rate rule for shutter speed, so I'm filming at 30 FPS. So I'm going to set my shutter speed to 60. And as you can see, my highlights are completely blown out. The whole screen is showing zebras. Now if you don't have zebras turned on, what are they? Well, basically they're an overlay which show you any area which is overexposed. And if you have an overexposed area, you're not going to be able to recover that in post. No matter what you do, bring the highlights down. With the Mini 2, you just cannot recover blown out or overexposed highlights. So make sure you have zebras on because they're a really good addition to visually show you if you're overexposed. You can turn them on if you haven't by going in the camera and going to overexposure warning. So you can see if I turn that off, everything just looks white and overexposed, but if I go back into the camera and turn it on, you can see the overexposure warning or the zebras. So as you can see, this is completely overexposed. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to get my ND filters, and I'm going to start with the lowest ND rating I have, which is ND 8. So I'm going to take it out of the box, and I'm going to place it on my drone. So you always want to start with the lowest ND rating and build your way up. That's how I find best. And now if I hold the drone up in the general direction I want to be videoing, you can see that the sky is still really overexposed. You can see the zebra is still showing that overexposure warning, so I know I need to go up one ND filter. So I'm going to take that ND filter off, and I'm going to go up to my next ND, which is an ND 16, and I'm going to pop that ND filter on. Now if I hold this up again in the air, you can see that the sky is there's still a little bit of overexposure there. Now if you're wondering what ND filters I'm using, Freewell recently very kindly sent me out their all-day 8-pack ND filter set, and I've been trying these out recently and I've been blown away by how good these filters are. This set contains 8 filters. It has a mixture of standard ND filters, polarizing ND filters, and it even has a circular polarizer, a CPL. Basically there's no situation where you're going to be stuck for an ND filter with this set. It has everything you need in one well-made box, and within that are incredibly well-made filters. I've been very impressed with these. These are now my go-to ND filters when I'm out flying the DJI Mini 2. And if you want to pick them up, I've put a link in the description down below where you can get them on Amazon. Now just before I put on another ND filter, I'm going to give you my top tip for getting super cinematic footage and how to expose correctly. And that is, if you look down in the bottom right corner, you can see a little icon with MM on it in the bottom right of your screen. And that shows you your exposure. I always try and underexpose my images because it means in post you can just recover that little bit more information. You get that little bit more dynamic range, especially in the highlights. So I always aim to have that MM set to minus 0.3 or even minus 0.7. So again, like I say, if I hold this up, you can see there's still some overexposure in the sky. So I'm going to go up one more drone filter rating. So the next one I have is an ND32. So that's the ND32 on. And now when I hold this up, you can see that the sky is perfectly exposed. There's no overexposure warnings and everything looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this down and I'm going to take off. And as you can see, the exposure is absolutely perfect. The location looks great. And I'm going to get perfect looking footage. And just by having that manual metering slightly underexposed to the minus 0.3 or minus 0.7, it's just going to give me that little bit more dynamic range in post. So I just want to quickly show you how you can take this footage from your DJI Mini 2, which looks great, but there's room for improvement, and use LUTs to, within a matter of seconds, make your footage much more cinematic. So I have 2 clips here that I've got from the Black Arch using the ND filters I've shown you and using the ND filter methods I've shown you. Now I just want to show you very quickly how you can use LUTs to take this footage from the DJI Mini 2, which looks great but there's room for improvement, and make it look much more cinematic within a matter of seconds. Now the LUTs I'm going to be using here are from dronelut.store. There's a link in the description down below, and if you want 10% off, use code Brennan. And I'm actually going to use the Coast LUT. I'm using Premiere Pro, but you can use any video editing software. These LUTs will work. And what you want to do is you want to load up the clip. I'm going to go into the color grading section, and I'm going to go to Creative. And I'm going to very quickly add the Coast LUT. And then all I'm going to do is, because the temperature is slightly off on this clip, is I'm going to make the temperature slightly warmer. And now look at the instant improvement on this image. So here's this clip without a LUT, and you can just see it's quite dull, quite drab, not overly exciting. And then if I just put it back to the beginning and put the LUT on, with the LUT applied, you can just see the colors are popping, it stands out way more, and it just looks way more cinematic. Let's take a look at this second clip from the Black Arch. And as you can see, again, the colors aren't that exciting. But if I apply our Coast LUT, which again you can pick up using the link below, and again, I'm just going to add a little bit more warmth into the temperature because the color temperature wasn't quite right when I was shooting this in the drone. And again, just look at the instant improvement that one LUT makes to this piece of footage. If I turn it off and play the clip, you can see again it's quite dull, quite drab, the colors aren't popping. And then if I turn the LUT on, just the instant improvement this makes. And that's how I use LUTs to get much more cinematic looking footage out of my DJI Mini 2. So that's how I expose using ND filters, and that's how I work out which ND filter to use when I'm out videoing. Hopefully you've learned something new. If you haven't found this video helpful, please hit that like button. And if you're new around here and haven't subscribed, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure the notification bell's on so you don't miss any of my other videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.